academic, a social worker, and health spokesman of the far-left British Green Party. You know, the British politician Lord Tebbit once said that any word preceded by the word social is negated by it. So what he meant was, social housing is not real housing. Social media isn't real media. And I'm sorry, Larry, but social working is not really working. Real American taxpayers know the truth. We need the GOP. The problem is they're not getting their act together. Someone needs to tell them they have a patriotic duty. Bush munching and dirty underpants don't float my boat. Don't know if they float yours. And I suspect the ordinary, hard-working American tax-paying family would agree with me. That's this week's monologue. Just time to give you the results of last week's poll when we asked which Hillary you most wanted to be president. Was it Hillary Clinton, Hillary Rhoda, or Hillary Boner? Clinton, Rhoda, or Boner? And the result was that pert, lovely, and American model Hillary Rhoda won it. No one seemed to want Clinton Boner. Can't imagine why that was. So that's it, folks. Continue to debate with me on Twitter at Andre JP Walker. Until next week, goodbye.
Check out Andre's column at townhall.com. Check him out on Twitter at Andre JP Walker. And read Andre's work here, Behind Enemy Lines. Now back to the show.
Gene Baradelli, back Behind Enemy Lines. I have to restrain the laughter every time I play something from Andre. By the way, I had to look up some of the slang there that he was dishing out. Do yourself a favor. We always take Andre's weekly monologues, and we post them up on Spreaker as standalone broadcasts. So check them out on there if you want to listen to it again, and break out your Urban Dictionary for some of the comments that Andre makes. Ooh boy, we're gonna get some cards and letters on that one. But you know what? It's a lot of fun for us, and we love to do it. I want to bring things back a little bit local now. Obviously, went across the pond, so that was definitely not local. But let's bring it back a little local. There is some issues here in the People's Republic of New York City that need to be brought to light. And I'm talking about hashtag New York values all over the place. You know what? I think we may have to do a regular segment Behind Enemy Lines about all the idiocy that we see with hashtag New York values here from our local papers here in the People's Republic of New York City. It's absolutely ridiculous now. It's gotten to the point, folks, where you're desensitized from it if you're from New York City. You just kind of throw up your hands and say, yep, well, that's par for the course for us. But honestly, if you're not outraged by some of this stuff, I don't know what you can say. So here's our New York values rundown Behind Enemy Lines. Coming out of Ithaca, New York, that's upstate for those of you who don't know the New York map. It's somewhere up there. It's close to Cornell and, that way. The mayor of Ithaca wants to create safe spaces for heroin addicts to shoot up without fear of any intervention, without fear of any reprisal from the police. They want to set up, and this is the first in the nation, folks, they want to set up a supervised injection facility enabling heroin addicts to shoot up without, and I'm telling you, this is just, I can't, the public health ramifications alone. Creating a facility for heroin users to shoot illegal drugs into their body under the care of a nurse. And they want this to be a government program. And not only do they want it to be a government program, they want it to be unsupervised by the state and that the city will take care of it. The rationale from Mayor Svante Myrick is that the mayor's father was a drug addict and split from the family when the mayor was young. And quote, I have watched for 20 years this system that just doesn't work. We can't wait anymore for the federal government. We have people shooting up in alleys and bathroom stalls, and too many of them are dying. So let's have them die under government supervision. That's your solution. Are you kidding me? That's New York values, folks. And you know what? You would think that would be the most ridiculous story coming out of the People's Republic of New York City. But no, it's not. There is a bill pending in the New York City Council that, if passed, will grant illegal immigrants the right to vote. Now, let's just forget about the lunacy of the logistics of putting this together. Let's just forget about the ramifications this will have on city elections and the disproportionality that we're going to see in voting. Especially, we know which way these people are going to go. But the proposal, which is winning support from cities' black and Hispanic activists, wants to expand the right to vote to everyone, quote unquote, according to Bertha Lewis, a known whack job and radical supported by Mayor Warren Wilhelm. Excuse me, that's not his name anymore, is it? Bill de Blasio. This is on the heels of New York adopting municipal IDs for illegal immigrants, and it's the further expansion and growth of the liberal agenda. Folks, as a voting rights expert and an election law expert here in the People's Republic of New York State, I can tell you that this will create an inequality not for citizens, but for illegal immigrants. You're creating a second-class citizen. You're creating a separate ballot. Because whenever you have an election, folks, you're going to have statewide races, you're going to have local races on the same ballot. But if you pass this, you're going to have separate ballots. What does that mean? More government costs, more government waste. But what it also means is that you're creating a second-class citizenry. You're creating people that are going to get the special illegal ballot. The ballot for the illegals is what they'll call it. You're going to have these people coming out of the shadows only to say, oh, you're getting that ballot. That's one argument. The other argument is, with rights come responsibility. If you want to give people a stake in the process, then guess what? They have to become part of the process. That means becoming a citizen. Russ Gallo wrote a great piece on this on our blog at www.behindenemylinesradio.us. It's on the top of the page right now. Check it out. Give it a good read. Check out the comments as well. Some of them are pretty funny. But you'd think that would be the end of the lunacy that is New York values. Oh no, I say. Because there's another story coming out of the People's Republic of New York City, where a developer with ties to the de Blasio administration is scoring bids for building projects without even winning the bid. A developer with ties to Mayor de Blasio, a name called Hudson Companies, bid $52 million for development rights of some very lucrative property where there's currently a library, and that bid was $6 million and $1 million less than two other bidders. So I guess the winner is now the third highest bidder. Maybe Marco Rubio started the trend. Maybe third place is the new first place. But the CEO of Hudson is a mayoral friend and fundraiser. I'm shocked. I'm wearing my shocked face right now. They're going to build a 30-story residential tower and build a new library, and it's going to a friend of the mayor. My God, where is the government watchdog of today looking at Bill de Blasio? Every bidder had a similar project that they wanted to give. Affordable units, building the libraries. The units differed from one to the other. But since when does the third highest bidder become the winner? This is what you call a sweetheart deal within the political network. There are rules, folks, that are printed on paper, and then there are rules that are made in smoke-filled rooms with a wink and a handshake. Maybe the rooms aren't so smoke-filled now because New York kind of got rid of that, but the room still applies. This CEO and his wife gave more than $9,000 to de Blasio when he ran for public advocate before he was mayor, back 9 years ago. And he had to return the money because the company does business with the city every day. Let me say that again. He had to return the money because there was a conflict of interest. So how do you get around the conflict of interest? Apparently you give away a $50 million project even when they're not the highest bidder. I gotta tell you, folks, Ted Cruz was right. We may not want to admit it here in New York City. We may not want to admit it in other metropolitan areas. New York values is a real thing. It's going on around the nation. And it has nothing to do with the people of New York. It has nothing to do with the values of a individual. It has to do with a political culture. A political culture that rewards the insider. A political culture that disregards individual rights. A political culture that destroys individualism in favor of agenda. We see that here in the People's Republic of New York all the time. And you know what, folks? Until New Yorkers wake up, I'm telling you, this culture of corruption will continue. I mean, we can make this every week segment. Client number 9, Elliot Spitzer, a former governor, caught with a woman who was supposed to be a hooker, apparently. And there was an assault there. This is a small sample of what's at stake around the nation. That's why you need to get involved. Whether it's the money aspect that we talked about with Shaun McCutcheon and donating to an issue or a cause. Whether it's becoming a grassroots advocate and fighting for what's right in your heart. This is the year to step up, folks. 2016 is your year. If you don't do it now, when? And if you don't do it now, there may not be an America that you recognize later on when the next opportunity arises for you to do so. Folks, that's about it for me. We're going to wrap things up. My voice is almost done, as you can probably hear. So I want to thank everybody for coming on the show. I want to thank Matt Fairley for joining me in that interview with Shaun McCutcheon. I want to thank Shaun McCutcheon for coming on the show. Shout out to Andre Walker and to everybody in the chat room. But it's time to shut this puppy down. Gene Baradelli from the People's Republic of New York City saying goodnight, God bless, and we're out of here.
Our position has been compromised. It's time to roll out. Report for debriefing at www.behindenemylinesradio.us and look for regular communications via Facebook and Twitter at BEL_radio. You are the resistance. Behind Enemy Lines. Part of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network. A rock radio production. Copyright 2015. Back in 7 days. Out.